Good. Let me call the meeting to order. We've got some recognitions to make, as you can see this evening, and other items of business this evening, and to move through those in a timely fashion and be respectful of your time here this evening. We want to get started. Thank you for joining us. This is a regularly scheduled Greer City Council meeting held and convened on October the 24th, 2023. Having called the meeting to order, I'm going to ask Councilman Jay Arrowood, if he would please, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and then an invocation. If you would, please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this evening, that this council can come together to conduct the business of your city. Lord, you have blessed Greer so much. We have so much to be thankful for. I thank you for the folks that are here tonight that are going to be recognized, that have devoted a big portion of their life to the service of the folks of Greer. Continue to bless them. Continue to bless us. Give us the wisdom and the knowledge that we need to make the decisions that are pleasing to you. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Ms. Duncan, anyone to appear in public forum this evening?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Council, contained in your packet is the minutes of the council meeting held on October the 10th, 2023. I'll entertain a motion that they be received.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any items of note for the clerk this evening? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood?
Yes.
Mr. Booker?
Yes.
Mr. Hopper?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Miss Albert? Yes. Mayor Danner?
Yes. Council, the departmental reports are contained in your packet as well. You have access to those. Department heads will be glad to add any additional information that you might require, or Mr. Merriman. With that, then, I'm going to ask Ms. Howell, if she would, to bring us our financial report this evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to give the financial report as of September 30th, 2023. Starting out with the general fund, year-to-date revenue is $3,980,000. Year-to-date total expenditures are $11,260,000, which as of right now is 4% over budget. The cash account in the general fund is $14,317,000. Moving on to the hospitality fund, the year-to-date revenue is $936,000. The year-to-date expenditures are $2,185,000, and the cash balance in the hospitality fund is $1,325,000. Finally, the stormwater fund, the year-to-date revenue is $52,000. The expenditures are $1,298,000, and the cash balance in the stormwater fund is $1,737,000. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Council, questions, comments?
On the hospitality fund,
Yes, sir.
my typical question are, where are we tracking on revenue, actual revenue received versus budgeted?
Yes, we are. Hold on just a second. We are definitely ahead of budget. I didn't look at it right before I came in. Of course, I can't find it. And I don't have my glasses, so. We are 2% over budget right now. Hospitality.
Others? Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate it. Thank you. Administrator's report.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Council, a couple things I want to bring up tonight. First of all, that want to remind you that Greer CPW and our own police department are again joining forces to remove unwanted and expired medicine off of our streets. We are asking the public to bring any expired, unused, or unwanted medicine, no questions asked, to 301 McCall Street, which is the CPW headquarters, on Saturday, October 28th, this Saturday, from 10 till 2. Letting you all know that the demolition has been completed at our Berry Avenue facility, as our engineering and stormwater employees have been temporarily relocated to the convenience center, the city recycling center. Just to let you know that framing is now underway, and we look forward to bringing that new facility online in 2024. Also, the portion of the building that's designed to be the home of Greer Relief is ahead of pace, as you can see drywall going up. I think it'll be now is a good time to also let council know that staff intends to bring to you as council a project update about all of our projects, just to let you know where we are with all of those projects at a workshop prior to the December council meeting. So at that time, staff will be available to present a comprehensive list of all of our projects and where we are with those. So you'll have more information, and I will remind you in the administrator's reports through November of that meeting as well. Residents will begin to receive leaf collection brochures in the mail this week, so be on the lookout for that. This will begin first week in November and continue through February, and you will have a map in the brochure which will let you know where you fall on the collection route, but you can also see that on the cityofgreer.org website. Let's see. The Breakfast with Santa, can you believe it? It's that time of year, is returning to the Cannon Center on December 2nd at 8, 9:30, and 11. So families can enjoy breakfast provided by Lorenda's with crafts, letters to Santa, and a meet and greet. And those tickets will go on sale November 6th at 7 p.m. And speaking of the 6th, believe it or not, public services will be hard at work starting to hang our Christmas decorations through town. So just be on the lookout for that and kind of be cognizant of our crews and bucket trucks hanging stuff up through town. There are a few tickets remaining for the final performance of Frozen Junior, so get those. And I know that pickleball is becoming, I think, a Olympic sport next year, if not in 2028, at least with all the furor around it, you think it is. But we are doing beginner pickleball clinics through the Recreation Division. We received a grant from the Greenville County Redevelopment Authority to provide these clinics, and so be on the lookout for those things as well. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my administrator's report, and other than that, looks like we may want to move on to the employee recognition portion of the meeting.
Thank you, sir. With that, then we're going to back up and do some special recognitions, employee recognitions. Got a little bit ahead of myself. I was so bound and determined that we were going to do that, I skipped right over it. So we will take care of that right now. As is often the case, duty calls sometimes. And as y'all heard, the beeper that went off, that was part of our fire and rescue team had to leave the meeting. It's something that a lot of our employees, particularly in the fire and police arena, deal with on a daily basis. Not just when they're on duty sometimes, other times as well too. And we really appreciate the support that they get from their family during these times, because they never know when something's going to take place that they're going to be called into action. And we know that applies to a lot of the rest of our employees as well too. When there's handle a lot of snow removal for us, and certainly flooding events and different things, in terms of what they take care of. And this is a day when here we've got facilities here, just a host of folks, and it comes with the territory. And while we recognize their length of service, we also want to recognize their commitment to their job. Because if you're one of those blue uniforms back there, know what's next sometimes. And it may be a trip from the dinner table out for an hour or a minute or all night. We just don't know. But part of what I wanted to recognize tonight was thank you to those families that are here. Their support at the time that they worked for the city, but also thank you for lending. So with that, I want to recognize some folks this evening with resolution number 12/2023. It's a resolution recognizing and commending City of Greer employees, and whereas the City of Greer does recognize and reward its dedicated and faithful employees, and whereas Matthew Bannister has served in the police department for 5 years, Barry Davis has served in the building and department standards for 5 years, Charles Jenkins has served in the public services department for 5 years, Nick Page has served in administration for 5 years. Billy Campbell has served in the building and department standards for 10 years. Collie Hanna has served in the fire department for 10 years. Pittman has served in the fire department for 10 years. Jonathan Saunders has served in the police department for 10 years. Steve Carson has served in the public service department for 15 years. Oliver has served in the fire department for 15 years. Michael Paulson has served in the engineering department for 15 years. Douglas has served in the fire department for 20 years. David Graham served in the fire department for 20 years. Claire O'Neill has served in the recreation, parks, and tourism department for 20 years. Ashley Wright has served in the police department for 20 years. Evan Holtzbaugh has served in the fire department for 30 years. Whereas these employees have served in a distinguished and professional manner, now be it therefore resolved that the City Council of the City of Greer, South Carolina, in the meeting duly assembled, officially recognize and commend these employees for their service which they have performed. Be it further resolved that the City of Greer hereby rewards these dedicated employees with a certificate of appreciation and administrative day with pay, approved this 24th day of October 2023. I believe he had to leave, but Warren Douglas,
He left.
left on that call, did he not? Interesting about Warren Douglas, and I'm sorry that he had served in our fire department for 20 years. 99, his father, who is
John Douglas.
John Douglas, served our department for 25 years. So talk about family legacy. Someone that just finished 20 years after his dad did 25 years for us. So with that, Matthew Bannister. If you will please stay up here and we'll get a photo. Barry Davis. Charles Jenkins. Nick LePage. Drew Pittman. Another one that followed his father into the fire service. Jonathan Saunders. David Carson. Drew Alderman. Michael Paulson, I believe he is. Oh, there he is. Warren Douglas, I know he had to, I think that was his beeper that went off. Taylor Graham. Thank you. We appreciate it. Kevin Holtzclaw.
Take a panorama. Have to take a panorama.
I know.
Yeah, really. Been here long enough.
Served as captain. He retired here.
And everybody's gone.
Let it beat you. Taylor looks like Steven's still gone.
Barry, you got to stay.
Mayor, one of the things that Mr. Merriman didn't mention in his report was the big rivalry game. And I need your Leonard's Losers take on the.
I'm not prepared to.
Salacious accusation.
Well, if you wanted a Leonard's Loser report, you should have asked whoever that was crying back there in the back, because that was probably from the losing team. So, you know. We do have a big inter-city rivalry this Friday night. Would urge you to take time, if you can, to attend Greer High Riverside football team. We present a trophy to the winner of that event. Started that last year and started off with a bang with a double overtime win by Riverside. And I know that the folks at Greer are looking to avenge that and going to have Riverside at their house this weekend, and be interesting to see who comes out on top. Got real significance in terms of heard the administrator and Mr. Airwood talking for playoff spots as well too. So a lot riding on it this time.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, before we go on, we've got a couple business items, and it was Greer that won the game, and if we don't get that squared away, I can't guarantee that Mr. Airwood will focus on.
Go Jackets.
Yeah.
I can't. All right. Let's try and get back to some old business. How about that? As we attend to old business, we've got the second and final reading of ordinance number 15-2023. This is an ordinance to provide for the annexation of a certain property owned by Delta Express Incorporated, located on Freeman Farm Road, by 100% petition, and to establish a zoning classification of RM2 for said property. Ms. Stahl, you have new or additional information in regards to ordinance number 15-2023?
The only update is Planning Commission held a public hearing for this item on September 18th and recommended approval.
Council, you heard it comes with approval from the Planning Commission. I'll entertain a motion to receive second and final reading of ordinance number 15-2023.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Floor is open for discussion. Questions? Comments? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Miss Albert, Mayor Danner.
Yes. This is the second and final reading of ordinance number 17-2023, an ordinance to provide for the annexation of a certain property owned by Zane Hanna located on Old Jones Road by 100% petition and to establish a zoning classification for RM2 for said property. Ms. Stahl, any new or additional information in regards to second reading of ordinance number 17-2023?
The same for this one. Planning Commission held a public hearing and recommended approval.
Council, as you heard, that comes with the approval of the Planning Commission. With that reference, I'll entertain a motion to receive ordinance number 17-2023.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Floor is open for discussion. Questions? Comments? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Miss Albert, Mayor Danner.
Yes. Second and final reading of ordinance number 18-2023. This is an ordinance authorizing the execution of a delivery of a development agreement by and between the City of Greer, South Carolina and Freeman Farms Apartments, LLC, or its assigns with respect to capital improvements in the City of Greer and other matters related thereto. Ms. Stahl, any new or additional information in that regard?
There was a new conceptual design for the site that was added, but that's all.
With that, then, for the purpose of discussion, I'll entertain a motion to receive ordinance number 18-2023.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Floor is open for discussion.
Say again what you said about Jane.
There's a new conceptual site plan that was added to the agreement, but that was the only change or addition.
By show of hand, is the owner or representative of the owner of the property with us this evening? Thank you. Ms. Stahl, in regards to that, are there fundamental changes at all to the plan, or is this just an update to the
I believe
conceptual
it's
plan?
just an update, and it's still conceptual, so it still may change.
Okay. Others?
Mr. Mayor, I'll just note within the language, I appreciate, once again, I've said this before in past requests, that this is going to be in District 3, obviously. And so the tool that we're using here of the development agreement, I can appreciate. I think it helps to guard the interests of our current residents. And I appreciate the inclusion of the language specifically on this, designating the funds that will come from the development agreement to be used for capital improvements south of 85. I think that's very important. Specifically a project like this that's multifamily. I know we have a lot of discussion in the community about multifamily, and I know we're being very strategic about where we want that placed. I'm supportive of that. This being one, right up against Interstate 85, but specifically making the growth pay for growth and keeping those funds local south of 85, I think is appreciated by myself and by the residents of District 3. So thank you for that, staff.
Others? Questions? Comments? Further discussion? Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Miss Albert, Mayor Danner.
Yes. Thank you. Let's move to new business, council, first of which is the final reading of resolution number 13-2023. This is a resolution to authorize an easement agreement. This is a request to authorize the execution of a trail easement agreement with the school district of Greenville County regarding the conveyance of certain real property for the expansion of the South Tiger River Greenway. Ms. Cunningham joins us for this discussion.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In our efforts to expand the South Tiger River Greenway, north of the Tiger River to Gap Creek Road, it was determined that the best path for the trail would lead us through portions of the property at Greer High School. Exhibit B shows the property of the Greenville County School District where Greer High School exists and where the proposed trail intersects their property to place the trail. Exhibit C shows the trail and the shaded areas where the trail would be placed on Greenville County School District property. It shows where the trail ends and joins the existing sidewalk on school property near Gap Creek Road. This route is the most efficient and accessible route in expanding this trail system to the residents residing on or near Gap Creek Road and providing accessibility to students at Greer High School and Greer Middle School. Exhibit C also shows a 6-foot black powder-coated chain link fence that would extend the length along the border of the school's property. We would install a 12-foot powder-coated double gate and a sidewalk that's approximately 55 linear feet and ties into existing sidewalk on the property at the southern portion of the school's parking lot. This will provide access for the school to and from the trail. However, it would be used only by the school. Greenville County School District is also requesting the City of Greer install a 6-foot galvanized chain link fence approximately 330 linear feet in length, connecting the existing fence around the athletic track that will aid in securing their property and limiting access to the public, particularly during school hours. This is outside of the easement area, and the Greenville County School District will be responsible for maintaining this portion and upkeep upon its installation and completion. All of this information is outlined in the trail easement agreement. These were just highlights from the agreement between the School District of Greenville County and the City of Greer. The conditions outlined in the agreement have been reviewed by city staff and our attorney, as well as the Greenville County School District staff and their attorney. With City Council's approval tonight, it would be forwarded to and placed on the November agenda for the Greenville County School Board's approval. With this, I'd like to thank you for your consideration, and I'd be glad to take any questions that you might have.
Thank you, ma'am. Action is required, council. This information comes from staff. You've got the accompanying documents in your bid. I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
Second.
Floor is open for discussion.
Was the school district, were they excited or were they enthusiastic?
I think, well, this has been a year in the making, and then that's fine. That's what we expected, but we needed to make sure that we were making the right choices. And so did the school district. So we've kind of gone back and forth and just wanted to make sure that their interests were taken into consideration and secured, as well as the City of Greer's. So I think it's a great partnership. I really do. And it's, I think, the most accessible route that will get us to Gap Creek Road.
But this portion of the trail is primarily just for the high school and like you said, the residents that live in the neighborhoods that are adjacent to the...
It actually would go up from, if you're familiar with the baseball fields, it would go beside the maintenance compound that's out there, and it would go all the way up, which is our property. It just intersects the school district property at a certain point. You can see on the maps on there on Exhibit C. And instead of following our property line, which is a sliver that goes all the way between the school district's property and Cypress Landing, instead of going that, because they're Leland cypress planted all down that our property, we could eliminate those trees. However, it's not accessible. It is much taller. You're looking at, having to put in retaining walls and whatnot if we went that route, and it would just be a lot more expensive. So we certainly would like to keep the Leland cypress, and that's why we went to the school district to see if their land is flat over beside it, if we could just go in and connect along their driveway going into the parking lot and then we would connect into their existing sidewalk coming off Gap Creek Road. So it really does work out well, I think, for everybody.
Others?
I just appreciate the level of detail and effort y'all went through to make all this come together, because that's not an easy task to get all these parties to agree and then find a route that's convenient for everyone that works out as well as it did. So I commend you all and our consultants who were a part of this to make this come together.
Well, thank you. We've got a good team, and our attorney, Daniel Hughes, is a pretty awesome guy. So thank you.
Others?
Once we finish this piece and this system is in place, then we're going to try to start working on, I guess, is that considered phase 2, the next level of connectivity that goes behind the baseball field? Is that the way that's going to flow?
I think phase 1 will be along the Tiger River, that goes down beside the soccer fields all the way back. Almost if you kept going, you would hit 14. We don't quite go that far. We'll start there as phase 1. We could certainly do phase 2 going up. I think it depends on the amount of funds. We could maybe bid it as alternates to kind of see what we want to do. We could do it all at the same time. We're still waiting to hear from SCDOT about our access under the bridge. So we're making some movement on that. So we're hoping that we can get that resolved pretty soon, and we'll be back here in front of you asking for another easement with SCDOT.
It is tight under that bridge.
It is. They like to maintain an 8-foot clearance. We can go to 7 feet, and it's still acceptable, and it works. So I think it's just you won't be able to ride your bicycle probably under the bridge, and we don't encourage that anyway. So there's more room there than you think, but 7 feet is what we'll have.
Others? Questions? Comments? Discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan.
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Miss Albert, Mayor Danner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council, we have a number of bids related to demolition and cleanup. I would ask that we take each bid in title for approval. My intent is that we will start with the first one and ask for information as regards the work for the first one, and then I would expect that the others all will fall within sort of those same parameters unless noted. So that's how we're going to go about these separate entities, but we'll take them in title only beyond this first one. So with the first one, we have a bid summary for the demolition and cleanup of 402 Connecticut Avenue. Additional information, Mr. Merriman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Council. These next 5 items are part of the process that we undergo from time to time. Council is seeing these tonight because they are all sole bids. But each one of these properties below have gone through our procurement process. We had the mandatory pre-bid, was attended by 5 contractors, but when the bid was due on October 12th, we had 1 responding bidder. After analyzing those bids, we did find that the bids met the standards that we have outlined and that they're within the reasonable amount for the work of this type. And so, Council, we are bringing these to you with a recommendation for approval on the demolition and cleanup of these particular properties. All of this is coming under budgeted funds in this fiscal year.
Thank you, sir. This comes with a recommendation from our building official, Ms. Helms, I'll entertain a motion to receive bid summary demolition and cleanup of 402 Connecticut Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion in that regard?
Yes, I just have a general question. I'm sure that it will pertain to all of these. Knowing this property, I don't think any of this has come before council that I recall before, so I'm not familiar with how it works. So this property was sort of like abandoned property, and I guess by the building codes, it got condemned.
That's right.
And then from there, okay, so we pay somebody to tear it down or do whatever they're doing with it. What happens to the property after that?
Typically, it's we put a lien on the property, and we leave the lien on in order to ensure that the taxpayers are at some point reimbursed to some degree.
Okay. I was just wondering if it went to the demolition or if it went to the city or exactly.
No. We are paying to have it torn down, and the amount that is applied to the lien.
And
But
then
if
the
the-
land or whatever the city will maintain that as far as the grass or whatever needs to be done during the time period that the lien's on there. Is that correct?
We don't maintain the property after that. We just demolish the structure because it's unsafe.
Right. Well, what about the land it's sitting on?
Mike, you want to add to this?
It would be handled just like any other property maintenance. If we have to go and cut grass or move brush, we would go in and place an additional lien on the property for those
Okay,
services.
so it would be maintained.
Yeah.
The property is retained by whoever's identified as the owner,
Okay.
and it's just the demolitions, as Mr. Merriman pointed out, that the cost will be leaned against the
And
property.
leaned against the
If
property.
it transfers and sell, that lien would be relieved back to the city.
No, I'm sorry, no.
That's okay.
I thought the expectation we go cut it ground like we would any other city property. And the answer is that no. Every time it gets to that point, we lien the property.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. That clears that up then.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
All right.
Others? Questions?
I was kind of going down the same line thinking that Judy has on this. If this goes, for instance, if the current owner doesn't pay their taxes and it goes to tax sale, in that scenario, we don't get reimbursed for that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, we do.
It all,
Okay.
Yes,
it's all part of
it's
it.
collected as part of the tax sale, and it's built in. Like if they came in and somehow got the property for $10,000, if there's a $12,000 lien or a $5,000 lien on the property from city for maintenance, that is added to the amount that has to be paid for the property, and then that money comes back to us.
It used to be only that we could do a lien. What you're saying is that we add the amount owed to the tax bill.
That is correct.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So, and we collect.
Set off debt collect.
Yeah.
Some of these funds from GCRA? Or
No,
this is ours?
and a lot of these properties have been problem properties that we've dealt with for quite a while, and have been ones that we have been extremely interested in resolving over the years. And there are a few of them that are in areas where the HUD funding would not pay. If they're like in a floodplain and things like that, it's created some problems. So we've decided to move forward on our own to remediate these issues.
Thank you, sir.
One more. That was kind of going off of what Jay was saying. So what he's saying is when the tax bill is generated, the lien or the amount is due with the taxes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if the next tax bill will come out, this lien will appear on it. If they choose not to pay it, then it'll start going to default with the county, and the county will process it as they do with
Foreclosure.
any property that's not paid for taxes. They'll be notified it's in default. They have a year to resolve the issue. If it's not resolved, then it goes to tax sale. And then when the tax sale is processed, then the lien would be satisfied as that. Now, if nobody buys the property, then it will go into county forfeiture. And to be honest,
At that
I
point.
do not know the answer to the question of what happens with the lien.
Once the county forfeiture, we're unlikely to see this back in order to recoup those funds. The idea is these are residential properties that would go to tax sale and then make it through the year of redemption. And at that point, we would get our lien either by the property owner or the new owner would repay the lien. So that's the intent of this whole process. The practical reality of it is, are we going to get 100% of these funds returned? No. No, because you're going to find properties that go into county forfeiture, et cetera. But and I don't need to tell y'all this, but the other option is unacceptable, and that's just leaving these properties in the state they're in. Now, to Mike's point, these properties have been something that's been on Building and Development Services radar for a while. We were aggressive this year in budgeting for them, knowing that some of the GCRA funds that were used in the past are not going to be available for demolition. So we intentionally added money into the budget this year for demolition.
Three of the properties are like about $18,000 to remove the structures, but a couple of them are like $1,800, $4,000. It's possible that we would probably see that money back quite easily because the value of the property, once it gets in that position, somebody will secure it, probably try to build upon it, and then 5 years from now, the cost for demolition may be much higher, and it's hard to demolish. I mean, it's not an attractive business anymore like it used to be in the past. You don't have a lot of contractors that are willing to go out and bid on these. Is one of the reasons why we've only got a single bid. So there is some attraction to the property minus the structure that's been removed for the folks to come in and pick these properties up and redevelop them. And then if that happens, we obviously will recoup the funds spent.
Well, that lot is worth a lot more than $19,500
Yeah,
plus
and
taxes, so that's good news.
I'm not completely familiar with where all these are located, but I imagine some of them are. And with the structure on it, makes it look awful, but a piece of property that can just be cleared and built upon definitely has a lot of value.
On the utility piece, I know there's sewer is running, in the yard. I'm sure there may be a gas line, different things like that. I just wonder what their responsibility is as far as how they cut the utility and kind of set it up for the next person that inherits the lot.
It's a good question, Mr. Dumas. I believe that we notify CPW and they come out and they terminate those services to those facilities before they're demolished as part of the process.
All the taps are capped, and it makes it real attractive for the next owner because there are no tap fees.
And all they got to do is just reestablish the line.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Mm-hmm. 402 Connecticut, other questions? Comments? Discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Earwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Miss Albert, Mayor Danner.
Yes. Demolition and cleanup of 22 10th Street. Comes with a recommendation from the building official, Ms. Helms. With that, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Questions? Comments? Discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Earwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Miss Albert, Mayor Danner.
Yes. Demolition and cleanup of 111 Spruce Avenue. Recommendation for removal by Ms. Helms, building official. I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Questions?
Do we have two readings on this?
We do not know, sir.
Okay.
Comments? Discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Earwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Miss Albert, Mayor Danner.
Yes. Demolition and cleanup of 103 Delano Avenue. Recommendation for demolition from Ms. Helms, our building official. I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Floor is open for questions.
Just kind of go over briefly what's the difference with or is there any uniqueness to having these accessory structures? I mean, so if somebody's living here, there's something that's detached from the house that we've had an ongoing issue with, and they just haven't been able to remedy it, and so we're just going to come in and take that down. That's
off of the No, the properties themselves, the accessory structure may very well be the only structure left on the property that wasn't a residence. So that's what you're seeing here. There may not be a primary structure on the property. It's just listed technically as an accessory structure.
Okay.
Others? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Miss Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, the sixth item before us this evening is the bid summary for a heavy debris cleanup and boarding of structure 125 McDaniel Avenue. This obviously may include other work than the demolition. Mr. Merriman, you want to give us any additional information in regards to how this may be different from the others?
I think in a similar manner, Mr. Mayor and Council, this is the properties were condemned, and in this particular case, it was determined by the building official that complete demolition may be unnecessary. However, shoring up and protecting the structure is necessary. So in this particular case, just as you mentioned, some semblance of demolition and/or heavy shoring would be required to secure this property.
Does come with the recommendation of Ms. Helms, who is our building official. I'll entertain a motion to receive for the purpose of discussion.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Floor is open for questions.
Can we just make sure that this company is not the one that chose the wrong house in Georgia this week?
Yes, sir. We will.
Thank you.
Comments?
That would be better.
Discussion. Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Miss Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, we have two items in executive session this evening. It has been some time since we've had an executive session for council and for our members of the audience who are still with us this evening. Executive session is when we debate or receive information in regards to a matter that is covered by state statute. In this particular case, we have two contractual matters, and it will be stated in the motion to go into executive session that we discuss these under state law. With that, then, if we could, we'll need a motion to consider two items in executive session this evening.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss two contractual matters, one pertaining to Project Lineout, the second to Project Titus. That's allowed by state statute section 30-470A2.
After this vote, assuming that we do go into executive session, council will stay in this room, and you may be excused to the outer lobby. This comes as a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Miss Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. We will stand in executive session. Council, in executive session, we've considered two matters, both contractual. Having considered those under state statute and taken no action in executive session, I'll entertain a motion that we come out of executive session.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Miss Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, do we have any further stated business this evening?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to allow the city administrator to enter in, to negotiate an agreement pertaining to Project Titus.
Comes as a motion. To hear a second?
Second.
Floor is open for discussion. Questions? Comments? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Miss Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, stand adjourned.